Hey YouTube, I have a letter I wrote to Grace University on behalf of a student who used to be there named Danielle Powell. If you're wondering why I would write a letter, there's a link to a video in the description that I would suggest you watch first. This letter will likely be in the mail by the time any of you see this, but before I mail it off, I'm going to read it aloud. To Michael James, I have recently heard about your decision to essentially hold the credits Danielle Powell completed at Grace University hostage until she pays what can only be described as a ransom, that is, the $6,000 she received in scholarships. And while I find your behavior appalling, I would like to thank you for it. Allow me to explain. I see a problem of cognitive dissonance in people when it comes to the topic of religion. There are a great many people out there who will take issue with your views on homosexuality. They will even correctly identify that your religion is the source of those views. But the second someone speaks too critically of religion, they'll say strange and contradicting things like, religion teaches people good things, as though there are no exceptions. They'll ask strange questions like, why would anybody bother arguing against religious beliefs? To each his own, live and let live. And why not just let people believe what they want? It doesn't hurt anything. They say those things as though they've forgotten about the harm they've already identified, caused by the very beliefs they attempt to ride to the rescue of. Long story short, I'm not going to hold my breath waiting for bigots like you to see reason and change your mind on homosexuality or anything else for that matter. I don't have to change your mind, and I don't even have to change the minds of the people I mentioned. I only have to get them to put two and two together, so to speak. And by your actions, you're helping me do it. Every single time the world sees these types of displays of senseless intolerance from religious institutions, I get more ammunition. A personal motto I have is this: action without discussion is dangerous. However, discussion without action is pointless. Our actions will always have more of an effect than our words, but we must proceed carefully. Your actions, however, will be more devastating to Christianity than any argument I could ever advance. And that's what I would like to thank you for. I'm always so glad to see Christians so committed to dealing death blows to Christianity from within. By all means, keep doing what you're doing. I have no doubt that Danielle will eventually receive her transcript from you. In fact, I'll bet if she contacted an attorney about this matter, I believe the situation would be resolved overnight. And if it comes to that, I, for one, would certainly not mind donating some money to that cause, and I can think of a lot of people who would feel the same way. In the long run, you will not be successful in this. You will only succeed in putting a black mark on the record of your school and on the record of Christianity, by extension. In the past, religious institutions have been successful in shaming gays and lesbians into silence. But at a point, the LGBT community decided they weren't going to take it anymore, and they've come out of the closet. The more visible they've made themselves, the more acceptance they've gained. Increasingly, every generation is less likely to hold discriminatory views on homosexuality and is more likely to know someone who is gay or lesbian and learned that they were people before they learned what their sexual orientation is. You cannot expect to preach your anti-gay vitriol to that crowd, telling them their friends and neighbors are horrible people, and expect them to stick around for it. So it really comes as no surprise to me that studies are showing that the fastest growing demographic in the religion category is the nones, or the non-religious. Those people aren't necessarily atheists or agnostics. They're not just bored with church. I contend that they're tired of hearing hate speech from people like you. Times are changing. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past few days, I'm sure you've heard about the Supreme Court decision to strike down DOMA and Prop 8. And mark my words, that is only the beginning. Soon enough, those who hold anti-gay beliefs will be a minority, and one that will continue to shrink as older generations die out and new generations are born. I believe that those future generations will look back to this one and regard the openly and unabashedly anti-gay views held by some of today, much in the same way we regard openly and unabashedly racist views held by some in the 1950s and 60s. Our actions do not die with us. They will remain in the memory of humankind, and they will certainly be scrutinized by later generations. So in the meantime, be sure you keep providing us all with such fine examples of good Christian behavior, and let the world remember where Christianity as a whole stood on this issue, and together we'll make anti-theists of them all. Enemy of bigotry, MrRationalThought. So, my point in reading this letter on camera for YouTube and all that is in hopes that everybody watching this video will take the time to write a letter of their own. If you think I worded my letter too harshly and you don't want to be, you don't want to take the same tack, that's fine. At the very least, I would hope everybody would at least sign the petition, which is, there will be a link to that in the description as well. Take 2 seconds out of your day to go sign that, but ideally, all of you will write a letter. I think that will help put some pressure on Grace University to do the right thing. And so for now, this is MrRationalThought signing out.